This meeting is being recorded.
Hey everybody, this is Marley Kay. Hope you all are doing well. Today I am going to talk to you about cyber warfare on the Black mind. It is really important because I feel as though I am seeing a lot of toxic behavior online about Black people, between Black people, and it just does not feel or look organic. And while I realize we do have a lot of issues in our community, we have a lot of division, we have a lot of animosity and a lot of carryover from white supremacy that we are trying to figure out ourselves. There's a lot of what I feel like operative behavior online that does not feel natural. So I wanted to talk about it and talk about fifth generation warfare. And fifth generation warfare is basically what we are in now. It is the cyber war, the new battlefield of warfare. And that warfare is the mind. So as we, hang out on these internet streets, we watch television, we listen to the radio, and so on and so forth. Everything that we are consuming is to it is a part of warfare. Most Black people don't realize that we are at war. We just think, people are making stuff for us, and because it is our face, it's cool because people are talking and they're saying some of the things, or they know some of the problems that we have in our communities. They're speaking on it, and because we can give credence to it because we've experienced it or we see it, we give it legs, we give it a voice, we co-sign it by liking it, we co-sign it by commenting, we co-sign it by watching it and continuing to watch it. It doesn't matter if you're on Twitter or YouTube or Facebook or Instagram or wherever. There is a concerted effort to control the Black mind because we are the most influential people in the world. Hands down, we all know it. We just don't, we're not braggadocious about it, but we also understand that that is a weakness for our community. And I'm just disturbed because I just have been seeing and hearing a lot of people, Black men and Black women, fight each other. It's one thing when you're trying to have a discussion and in a think tank manner and solve a problem. But just being on the internet and ranting, giving voice and legs to something with no outlet or no way to fix whatever the problem is, it's like counterproductive. And it is fodder. It's also food for the enemy. And I have just been noticing that our people are really, really, really bad at identifying this. And I've just been suspicious because, even people that I know, really, really good, wise, smart people are getting caught up into these spaces that just seem to be hostile, it's making us hostile towards each other. I want to talk about that because this is a part of warfare, part of some things that we don't necessarily think about. So I found this piece. It was written in 2017 by a man named Peter Layton, and I think Peter Layton is from Australia. But the title of this PDF is called Fifth Generation Warfare, an evolving technical dimension of war. I found it very interesting because they talk about some things that, they have talked about in the past, but I don't think our people recall, or our people just don't really understand what is happening. So I'm going to go into this a little bit. I'm going to read this and then I'm going to just give my commentary on it. So this warfare, fifth generation warfare, fighting ideas go back more than 2 decades. In the 1990s, the military thinkers seized upon developments in commercial information technology, applied them to military operational concepts, and then popularized the term network-centric warfare. This is so important because, as you see, commercial information technology is what we use today. We all use it, whether it's, Zoom, Instagram, WhatsApp, it's all these different things that we use, YouTube, Facebook. We use a lot of systems and methods to get information, to share information. This is all that this stuff is. Now, I will say vaguely that a lot of the information technology that we use was created by the military for the military. So we're all walking experiments. So everything we're doing, like, I'll just say it's a file on everybody. And Edward Snowden talked about it, but there's just a lot of there. So understand that we are using technologies that were developed for the purposes of war. Now, you may think about a war, a foreign war, say in Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, wherever, but sometimes this stuff is used on us as in the American people, us in particular, meaning Black people. So I want to put into the forefront of everybody's mind as you go about on these internet streets that some of this stuff that we are involved in, that we see and hear, is warfare. A war is being waged on our mind using information. Sometimes this information is organic and true, and it is about us. Sometimes it's planted in our communities. It's not organic. It's artificially implanted. Sometimes it's artificial intelligence. It's bots. It's whatever these sites have to conjure up chaos or to start conversations so that they can learn. And then sometimes it's our enemies. Like, this country has enemies, and our enemies create these troll farms and all these different places that target us, African Americans specifically, because of our influence and because we are so naive to the fact that people will stoop so low as to do these types of things to us. And so it is important, as we, look at all these wars, the gynocracy, the manosphere, single women don't like single men want to go and bash women, and the women want to bash the men. And we got the passport bro conversation. We got the OnlyFans women conversation. We got the divestment conversation. We have diaspora wars. We have all these different things going on in our community. And we don't take the time to stop and ask ourselves why, how is it that no other community in the world, no other ethnic group, no other racial group has these challenges? Just us, just our stuff is aired for fodder. And I had a conversation with a friend, and he had to admit that he doesn't see it. And he says it's maybe because I'm not privy to those spaces, but I've been with different cultures and different groups of people, and they've told me they don't do what we do. They have their discussions amongst themselves, but they never air their dirty laundry, and they will work together. That's something that we cannot and will not do. We are so Western and so white and so individualized that we don't do that. And so because we don't do that, we can't come together, the thinking heads, whether it's male or female or both, all together in spaces and figure this out. We just are emotional. We say whatever we want to say and do whatever we want to do, and not think about our enemy who's at war with us all the time. So I'm gonna go back to this piece, because this piece had something really interesting in it. And it talks about China and Russia But I want you to understand that whatever they do, we've done also, because we developed a lot of this stuff. The West in America, we developed a lot of this information technology. So they say these countries, but they don't talk about us. So you can insert us in the conversation. Chinese and Russian thinking both take a more expansive view of many of the underlying ideas behind fifth generation air warfare. The fifth generation idea implicitly suggests conflict being constrained to a well-defined battle space. A well-defined battle space for us would be our mind. A well-defined battle space is the internet streets, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, wherever we are, that's a battlefield. So keep that in mind as you consume things. It could be television, it could be the radio, it could be, anything, movies. You just have to understand that there is no battlefield. There's not a physical battlefield anymore. The battlefield is everywhere. Chinese and Russian thinkers demur that no part of any adversary's territory or any of the various national systems of politics, economics, law, and public opinion are considered off limits. So that means when we are having conversations, Russians and Chinese are inserting themselves in our business. And if they're inserting themselves in our business, guess who else is too? Uncle Sam, the popos, whosoever, the ops. So this is what makes me suspect about a lot of this division and divisiveness in our community, where, we are having these arguments about the things that are dysfunctional about our community. They seem extremely loud. It seems people are really into it. Educated people who should know better are drawn to these spaces because they are getting something. And I'll talk about that after I finish with this piece about why we are drawn to those pieces, to those places. Both Russia and China hold that informationized warfare can achieve success at low cost in blood or treasure, which means when they get us to be divided because they use the internet or whatever means, that the new battlefield, cyber war, tech landscapes, we don't bleed. We bleed internally. We bleed when we waste our brain cells thinking about stuff that we shouldn't be thinking about because they planted those seeds. We are angry with one another because they've created a rift or division. They've used our weaknesses that we exposed in part, but also because the system of white supremacy has studied us and demoralized us for so long that everybody knows everything about us. So they know our dysfunction. They know the men are weak and they have, lack self-control. They know, men have self-esteem issues stemming from slavery. They know women are, easy to be misled because we want to be like white women. And so they know all these things about us. They use these things against us. And when they do, they cause us to bleed, but it is a different type of blood. We bleed internally. They don't have to see it. They don't have to deal with it. We inflict our injuries upon each other. So it's just very interesting that a lot of people are not aware of this type of warfare. Chinese and Russian fifth generation warfare thinking is also alike in that neither focus on the effects grids nodes. I have no idea what effects grids nodes is. I have to look that up. They both seek to avoid force on force wars, meaning neither want to get into a physical combat situation. So they will they choose the path of least resistance, and they I won't say least resistance. It is the least resistance because the people, they are using don't know they're being used. So it's pretty easy. And, they don't have to use any force. We willingly pick up our devices and use social media, even though, we all have evidence that we are being played. We still engage in these bad spaces. We still engage in public spaces and have discussions about things that could be used by our enemies. So there's no force there. It's still a war, but there's no force. And there's no pushback because we African Americans don't push back on anything. We just tolerate and we continue to use these platforms. We continue to talk. We continue to give our enemy ammunition. So Chinese thinkers suggest focusing their efforts on attacking key sensing and information grid nodes, with Russian thinkers stressing assaulting the command grid. For them, people's minds are the real battlefield. And I read something a long time ago, and I watched a video of a former KGB agent talking about how Russia plays the long game. Russia will demoralize people for 30, 40, 50, 60 years and wait till they get us at our weakest point, and then they'll attack. And that's where we are now. Like, we've been being demoralized for a long time, since like the 70s. And people haven't really paid attention to the fact that we were being demoralized. But now you can see it, you can feel it, you can hear it. And it does not feel good. It feels, it's scary because, like, for the first time, I can see, people not trying to be together. Men are not trying to be with women. Women are not trying to be with men. Everybody is isolated and divided. The women are raising children by themselves. The men are like, I don't want to be with nobody. I'm broken. You got the younger generation. They don't want to be with anybody. They just want to have sex, have fun, and watch TikTok videos and do whatever, play video games. It's crazy, but it's gonna come back to bite us in our butt, and it's gonna hurt the nation, because when the individuals in society are divided, we're less likely to be able to rally and support the government if they want to go to war. And that is the main thing that our outside enemies want to happen. They want us to fall from the inside, because then that means they don't have to do nothing. They could just, do some little minor stuff, and people won't even mind. People won't notice. People would be so angry at each other and at the government, they'll just let the enemy come in and do whatever. So it's a new landscape, a new type of warfare, but we are being used. Chinese conceptions favor using mainly military means to inflict multi-domain kinetic and non-kinetic damage. And so when they talk about military means, it means not just physical war, it also means this type of warfare, the cyber war. In contrast, Russian conceptions stress the cross-domain use of non-military means in preference to military means, meaning Russia likes to use the media. Russia likes to put trolls in troll farms in Russia and in Africa and other places to target Black people, so that we will be misled, so that we will be arguing amongst ourselves, or maybe we'll even be having civil disagreements with white people and other people, so that they can demoralize us. It's a part of the long game. And our country doesn't do anything, because our country hates us so bad that they don't care. It's fair game. Anybody want to come beat up the African Americans, go ahead. You can have we don't care. We only care about our white people. And as you can see, over the last couple of years, they don't even really care about white people no more. This is all about save yourselves. The politicians and the rich are protecting themselves, and everyday average white people are on their own, and they're starting to see that, and they don't like that. Now, African Americans know what's going to happen. They're going to lash out at us, because that's what they do. They punch down, they don't punch up. So all these different things, although I'm talking about African Americans, but everybody is being impacted. We're all victims of this new 5th generation cyber warfare on our minds, but we don't know it and nobody talks about it. Chinese battle networks ideas accordingly imply fighting symmetrical wars, whereas Russian ideas are very heavily oriented towards asymmetrical approaches. So, I wanted to talk about this because I want us to be cognizant of the fact that we're in war. African American people, you are in war. Everything you consume, you may as well say somebody put it there. If you are on any white-owned platform, and if it's open, free to the public to use, you can assume trolls are there. You can assume there are Russians pretending to be Black people. There are Chinese people pretending to be Black people. There are Africans in Africa being paid by Russians and Chinese pretending to be Black people, Black American people, for the sole purposes of demoralizing us to bring this country down from the inside, create these divisions, multifaceted divisions, men versus women, families against singles, gays against straights, heterosexuals, poor people against rich people, a middle class against everybody, feminist against this one, just every type of division that you could come up with, we have in this country. And you have to understand that this warfare, the cyber warfare on our minds, is being played out every day, all over the place. So when you're in these spaces and you're going into these places where people are bashing each other and bashing Black people, that's one reason why I don't like to bash Black people. Like, I don't like to talk about the superficial things that are wrong with Black people, because we can do that in our house. We can do that in our communities. I don't have to talk about what's going on in California, because I'm not going to California. I don't live in California. What's happening in California with Black people in California need to take care of. I need to talk about the Black people where I am, and how those things impact me. If we all clean up our own communities, we'd be cool. But we don't do that. We want to get on the platform and speak on a national level about something that's happening to us locally. And we have no power to do anything except for address whatever issues we have locally. So, whether it's relationships, whether it's building up each other, men and women, whatever is coming, Black people don't have no friends. We don't have any friends. Nobody likes us. So we can be on the internet beefing all day, all night. But when the first shots get fired, when the grid goes down, when there's no water, when there's no food, Black people gonna be coming together. And so all this wasted time and energy fighting each other and talking about, I got this degree, I got this amount of money, it don't matter. Money is not going to stop you from getting killed if somebody wants to kill you. Money is not going to help you if there's no food to buy and you don't have somebody that has the knowledge to help you survive. If somebody doesn't have a way to take care of certain things for you, if you're a man and you may feel like you're independent, but there are some things that you may need female support for. You may want female moral support. You may want a hug. You may want your mama's cooking. Something. We need each other. So I don't see the purpose of the beefing publicly. What I see and what I feel is that it is not organic. I feel like it is artificial, and I feel like it is so loud and so obvious that these spaces and places, these conversations, it's too much negativity. And no other group has it but us. You could go on the internet and you could see us ranting about each other. So many Black people got, why women single, why men single, why you ain't gonna get married, why you gotta tell somebody. If you don't want to get married, just keep it to yourself. If you don't like people, you don't have to tell nobody. Some days I don't like people, but I don't get on the internet and be like, oh, I hate people so bad, they get on my nerves. No. You don't have to do that. We don't have to do that publicly. We have one enemy in this world. We have one nemesis. We are at war with a lot of people, but the ringleader of the war is the same people that have, oppressed us for hundreds of years. We don't have time to beef with each other. We don't have time to be beefing, men and women beefing with each other. We're supposed to be saddling up and getting ready for whatever they're getting ready to try to do to us. And so I just feel like it's a waste of time. I feel like it's a waste of energy. We really need to understand what this fifth generation warfare is. We need to get our minds together. We need to get our minds wrapped around it, what it looks like, what it feels like, what it sounds like, and then guard our hearts and our minds, because you're not going to be able to survive if we keep succumbing to the little things. And I'm not going to let anything keep me from helping my brothers or my sisters, but I will not tolerate, just the open divisiveness that we have in our community. I'm just not down with it. We got one enemy, and I'm staying focused on the one enemy. Everything else we can handle. It's family business, and it should not be handled in the public streets. It should not be handled on the internet streets, because all we do is give people ammunition to harm us later. So I expect men to do better. I expect women to do and be better. I I expect all of us to learn how to work together, to learn how to talk about and to each other in respectful manners. In order for our collective to change, somebody got to start. And I can tell you, these young people are not finna do it. Now, I'm 50. I'll be 51 soon. I'm not down with this, being divisive with Black people. You're either for us or you're not for us. And if you team white supremacy, there's a line and you're over there. If you are for us and with us and you love us and you want to help us and heal us, that's one thing. But we can't heal if we keep fighting. We can't heal if we can't see, if we can't heal, can't hear. And we definitely can't heal if we keep this energy and the culture, the morals and the values of the dominant society, which means we have to get back to the basics. We have to get back to our heritage. We have to get back to our lineage and our culture. We have to go back to the ways of our ancestors pre-slavery, not just from the civil rights generation, not Big Mama them from the Great Depression. We got to get back to Africa. We got to go back to the days when we were in Israel, the days when we, you know, we followed the laws, statutes, and commandments from the Bible when life was simple. We didn't do what other people did. We didn't worship their gods. We had our own ways. We kept ourselves clean. We kept ourselves separated from other people, and we were okay. But we've adopted so much of the Western culture. It is not us, and it does not work for us. So we'll have to get back to the basics, and we're going to have those conversations. It's a conversation for another day. And I don't want to dirty up this post by talking about it, because it would be a lot of admonishment, a lot of correction. And at times I don't feel like I'm the appropriate person to do that. So it'd be something that I have to do with somebody else who is far more knowledgeable than I am. So with that said, be careful on these internet streets. Do not fall prey to all these different types of beefs amongst the Black people, whether it's a Twitter space, whether it is a YouTube thread, or how you start watching these videos and the next thing you know, that's all you getting in your feed. Be careful. When you start seeing that, you need to start typing some stuff in the search engine and looking for other stuff, so that those algorithms won't keep feeding you that garbage. If you are living in a place where there's a huge Black population and you're struggling with getting along or finding people who are right mind, have the right mind, the right heart, you know, you may need to remove yourself from some spaces and find new people. We're all gonna have to make a concerted effort to not fall prey to this cyber warfare on our Black minds, because that is real. It's going to get worse. And I'm trying my best to keep my mind. This is all I have right now. Like, there's nobody kicking in my door and shooting up my house, or no parachutes, coming down out of the sky, no tanks driving down the street. The war is on the internet. The war is on television. The war is on the radio. And so we have to recognize that and try to guard our hearts, guard our minds, eyes and ears, so that we can not be so tainted and not be so broken, that when it's time for us to come together, the time is now. But when we need to come together, we can, and do so and heal ourselves, because nobody else is going to do it for us. We have no friends. We are at war. And the only people that are going to save us, African Americans, are African Americans. If men don't take charge, our whole community fails. And I'm putting the blame and responsibility on the men. Brothers, y'all got to get y'all stuff together. Sisters, we have to get ourselves together. We have to learn how to work together. We have to learn how to talk to each other. We have to learn how to agree to disagree. And we got to learn how to hug it out and get along, because at the rate that we're going, we will be conquered. If something really bad happens, we'll be conquered, because we are out of order. So with that said, please like this video, subscribe to all my channels, just in case I get booted off of this one. Sign up for my website, marlak.net, and y'all have a good one.